Grove Tender, Spiritual Leader, and Outlaw. Tryneia's mother, Rendrys, the Red Priestess of Elerion, is probably the most pivotal character despite her relatively small presence in the story, and her importance is one that propels Trynneia through all of the trials and tribulations that she has. And in this video, I wanted to talk about it. Hello friends, my name is Jake Montanez, and this is my self-publishing vlog where I document all of the efforts I go to in writing the Lightblessed Saga, and in particular the first book of the series, Night of the Illumination. So Tryneia's story actually starts a couple of decades before her own birth, obviously with her mother's upbringing and training as a priestess of Elerion in the city of Praxen, which is the capital city that rules the entire region that they fall under. That is basically the center of the major religion, which worships the light in my story. The Regency is the ruling body of this fundamental religion that we've got going on here, and it exists in its own right as a replacement for the titular head of the Illuminati, which is the basically the ruling council. And the Illuminati was once a person that was light blessed, and this was kind of a hereditary position, but it was never really by blood. It just happens to spawn into being as people are chosen by Elerion, the god of the world, as they see it, and they are imbued with the powers that Trynneia ultimately ends up with, and they have since several hundred years ago basically vanished from existence. And there are a few reasons behind that. But what it boils down to is that in this instance, Rendrys was light blessed at one point in time, and she has given up those abilities and retreated from Praxen as an outlaw because of things that she did during her training. And that very state of being an outlaw is what gets her into trouble early on in the story, gets Trynneia into trouble, and actually causes the Illuvan Sentinels to have a much higher interest in Trynneia than they would have had otherwise, because they come across her and they see something that they haven't seen in a very long time, and it's something that Rendrys was very hard trying to prevent the discovery of. Now, to be light blessed isn't just a singular thing. There are usually many people that have been chosen by the light to be blessed, but that has faded over time. The light has been weakened, and the light chose Rendrys to be the bearer of the burden, the eternal light, that was basically the embodiment of the power of light in the world. And she did not want to have that kind of responsibility. So because of her actions in her training, and I'm not going to talk about those because those could be considered spoilers later on down the road. I like to keep a little mystery, right? She fled from Praxen and was forced into hiding several hundred miles away, more on the outskirts of the lands of the Regency that they control. And she retained her position as a priestess, but made it so that she was so far away that routine travel by people who were able to go to back and forth to Praxen was going to be obscured by the fact that she was on the other side of this very large desert that she had to travel through in order to hide her comings and goings. Once she got to where she has settled, Trynneia was born. That was another reason why she left Praxen, was that she was pregnant with the child, and was obviously not something that the religion looked very kindly upon. She settled in and raised Trynneia in her own religion, knowing the things that she knows, but the way she taught the religion and promoted it as the priestess in this far-flung tiny little town um, was quite a bit skewed from the way it was taught to her when she was in training. She knew more about the light than the people who were teaching her about the light, simply because she had been blessed by the light. And so her trainings reflected that, her preachings reflected that, and the way she influenced the town that she settled in reflected that. Now, when we first meet Trynneia, she's going to class. A new teacher has arrived fairly recently and has begun taking up similar teachings, who has also happened to come from Praxen and knows things. And the way she teaches things about the religion differ in many ways from the way that Trynneia was taught. And she expresses those concerns to her mother, and Rendrys kind of just like pushes it off to the side a little bit, and that ends up biting her in the butt later on. Early into the story, Illumin's sentinels arrive in town. They've been dispatched from Praxen under the guise of investigating the regional fair that is occurring, or marketplace that is built up here. And it's through them that they discover that Trynneia is light blessed, and they start poking around. And that's where all the trouble starts. If you want to know more, you got to read my book. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.